This is John for Global Women's Sports Radio. Today, I have the pleasure of being on the beat with Duke assistant softball coach Jessica Bracamonte. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's been a
Good.
long time.
It's been a few years, right? About like 8 since I last saw
Yeah,
you.
something like
So, what
that.
have you been doing the last 8 years?
Oh, a whole lot of coaching.
When
Um,
let's jump into that. When did you realize you wanted to be a coach?
I'd say probably around my sophomore year in college. I just it just felt like it was going so fast, and I found myself really taking on a leadership role on the team. Coach encouraged that and kind of just ran with it and started thinking about, maybe this is what I want to do. And so um, I tried it out and it worked out. So
So, with that in mind, when you were still playing in college, did you go to your coach at that time and explain this is what you wanted to do and get more responsibilities or anything?
I did. Well, so I did. I went to her and told her, I think I might want to be a coach too. And so the first thing she told me is, well, you're going to have to get your grades up, because if you want to be a head coach, then you're going to need to get your master's. And if you want to get your master's, then you're going to have to get into grad school. And so that's kind of where that started. I took that pretty seriously and definitely hit school a lot harder than I had my freshman and beginning of sophomore year. And so that was a big one. And that was my first step, getting my master's, going to be a GA.
And I know you coached at your alma mater. So how was that an experience for you? Now you're coaching where you were a star player.
Sure. Well, so I actually was a fifth year student assistant there. And so I was still in school while I was at Michigan State, helping out in the, kind of managerial role, coaching from time to time, a little bit here and there. And then I actually took a year off and I went home for a year and coached at a junior college in Huntington Beach, California for that year, and then decided to go back and get my master's. And I went back to Michigan, the state of Michigan, and actually went to Central Michigan University, got my master's there, was a GA for my first 2 years. And then that position got turned into a second full-time assistant position. So it was, before I had gotten there, it was a GA position. It was the head coach, a full-time assistant, and then a GA position, and that GA spot got turned into a second full-time assistant position.
Wow, that's a climb.
Yeah.
No, and at some point during that, you actually played professionally with the Chicago Bandits. I know because I saw you. But to get to the Bandits, you had a little bit of a rough road. You had some knee injuries that you had to overcome, and it didn't look like you were going to even play professionally. But then you ended up. So, and I read a little bit about this. Could you fill us in on that path?
Sure. This is one of my favorite stories to tell, because I just think it's pretty cool, as far as, not thinking it's going to work out, and then it kind of comes out of nowhere. But yeah, I knew I wanted to try to play my senior season in college. And then I ended up tearing my ACL, and that was the end of my, I guess, collegiate career. And so the plan was to try out that summer. Obviously, I wasn't able to do that. And so I had to kind of make a decision, was I going to be done, or did I want to, rehab basically a full year just to go try out? And so I decided I loved softball enough to do that. So I rehabbed that entire year, and then went to 2 months before tryouts. So that was my senior season was 2011. And then I rehab that year, was planning to try out the summer of 2012, and 2 months before tryout blew out my other knee.
Oh.
So that's, was kind of the even bigger question of, was I going to do it again to try out 2 years out of college ball, or was I going to just be done? And I decided to give it another try. And so I rehabbed again for that whole year, with plans to try out the summer of 2013. And so I was healthy and able enough to try out. Well, I tried out and I made it to, I don't know, it started with like 50 tryout people were trying out. Maybe I made it to the final 3, and they only took 1. So I didn't end up making the team, but felt pretty good about, everything I had put in up until that point. I felt a peace about being able to walk away at that point. So then was coaching at Central Michigan. Well, we played a tournament at the Dome in February. And Bill found me and, asked if I was going to try out again. And I kind of just laughed and said, no way. I've put in everything I have for 2 years, and I'm good with just walking away. And he said, well, I'd like to sign you. We'd like to pick you up. And so that happened in February. And so I knew in February that summer I was gonna play. So it was kind of unexpected. I had made peace with being done and walking away from the game as a player. And then that happened. So it was a pleasant surprise, dream come true. It was an awesome experience.
Well, how did it feel then to put on the Bandits uniform, go out there and play professionally for the first time?
Oh my gosh, I can't even describe it. I remember walking into the locker room and seeing my nameplate above my locker, and it was just like, the coolest thing, because that's all I had wanted to do for, in playing college ball, and then how hard I worked after. And so it was pretty surreal, and I enjoyed every second of it, on the field, off the field, just the whole experience in general. Being able to put that uniform on really was a dream come true.
Now, you're one of several ex-Bandits that are coaching in major colleges. I know, like, the Edwards sisters are there, or at least Tatum Edwards is there. Tristan Edwards she played college ball, but Lacey Waldrop is coaching. I know Zimkowitz. How does that feel? Like, anywhere you look, you're basically seeing almost another teammate.
Sure. Yeah. So I didn't get to play with all of those, with all of them, but it is still really cool to see that so many coaches are coming out of that organization. I did get to play with Zimkowitz. I played with Gascoigne, who is at Northwestern. And so there still are quite a few of my teammates from that summer that are coaching. And it is really cool, especially when you run into them out recruiting. You get to catch up a little bit and just see how everything's going. But, they're not only coaching, they've had some great success. And so I'm not surprised at all. They were awesome teammates, great players, and continue to be great at what they do. So it has been awesome to see them and follow their careers as well.
And what are your responsibilities as a coach at Duke?
So off the field, I do a lot of the admin, behind the scenes, kind of what keeps the car moving from a compliance standpoint, and do a lot with culture, team building, community service, all of that off the field stuff. Kind of all hands on deck with recruiting. We do our best to just bring to the table what we see on our end. We all have a little bit different connections from across the country. And so, me being in the Midwest, a little bit different than, Marissa, a little bit different from Josh. And so we kind of come together there, and Marissa and I being from out West. And so connections there. So it's been really great to kind of have those connections in different parts of the country, to work together in that area. And then on the field, my primary defensive responsibility are the outfielders. And then myself and the other assistant work together with the offensive side, different areas. He's more of the mechanic, swing, that sort of thing. And I work a little bit more with the approach and mental side of it. And we do a really good job of collaborating and doing our best to get our offense to be as strong as it has been.
Well, how has it been? Could you give us a little scouting report on the team?
Oh man, it's been fun. It's been awesome. So as of before the weekend, we were second in the country in home runs. We've got, I think it was 32 before the weekend started, at maybe a couple more since then. So it's been really great to see our players, just dive into and just immerse themselves in what we're teaching and talking with them about every day. And it's really shown in different ways on the field. It's tough to beat our lineup of hitters. We have some really, really strong hitters all the way through our lineup. You look at our, 7, 8, 9 spots, and they aren't easy outs. And so when you look at Duke's offensive lineup, I think that, everybody knows it's going to be tough to get us out. And our players do a great job of, adjusting in game after game, watching film to make themselves better. And so it's been really great to see them develop in those ways.
And you got a lot of experience in slap hitting and coaching slap hitting, but now this team is hitting a lot of home runs. So is it like you've got a bunch of home run hitters and a bunch of slap hitters?
No, so actually our current lineup, there's one slapper. There's actually one slapper on our team right now. And so it's funny, I hit more than I slapped in college, but I definitely slapped a good amount. And then at Central Michigan, I was in charge of the offense and, worked with slappers and hitters, both the same. And then coming to Duke, it's been pretty cool to be able to focus just on that part of it, like especially our hitters. You have a coach who works specifically with hitting and then a coach specifically for slappers, which I don't know that many teams across the country can say they have a coach on staff who, specializes in that area. So, but we definitely bounce ideas off of each other, and, Josh will do a little bit with our slappers and I do some with the hitters, and it's definitely a group effort there. But our current lineup right now, there's one slapper. And so it's been a great opportunity for me to give as much attention to that player as I have been able to, as well as, work a little bit with the other side of it as well, because I don't have, 9 slappers to work with. So.
Well, like you said, when you were in college, you were pretty balanced. You were able to hit the long ball. I know you had a bunch of triples, I know, and you were a slap hitter. When you're like, is that a decision you're making at each at bat? Like, I'm going to slap hit this one, or I'm going to, go for harder, or does it depend on when the pitch is coming in? Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah, it's usually going into a kind of, read the defense. Defense plays a big role in your decision to decide what you're going to do in that at bat. And then slapping was really good for me when I was struggling hitting, struggling to see the ball or just, get the results that I wanted. Slapping kind of was a way to slow myself down and allow me to see the ball a little bit better. So that would factor in as well. It just kind of depended on a lot of different factors, but it was definitely great to have that flexibility when I needed it.
And how are things out in North Carolina?
Awesome. I remember we, in college, we did spring break out in North and South Carolina. And I remember saying to a teammate that one day I wanted to live in one of the Carolinas. Wow. And so this has been kind of a full circle moment, being able to, live in North Carolina, and not just in North Carolina, but I feel like from what I've heard from other people before I came down here, one of the best parts of North Carolina, just, being Durham, Raleigh, Chapel Hill, just a lot going on. And I'm a huge outdoors person. I love to hike and walk whenever I can. And the versatility that a place like Durham offers with being able to get that, greenery outside, but city and all kinds of really good food. And, it's been the best of it all. So I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great transition.
So I know you're very busy actually in coaching off the field, on the field, all that. But when you do have a few minutes, what do you like to do to relax or unwind or just to get away from softball?
Yeah, I like to get outside. I have a dog, and so we spend a lot of time together when I'm, not doing other things. And I love to get outside with her and go for hikes or, just really long walks. The weather right now is starting to warm up a bit. And it's beautiful outside, and, you get blue skies often down here. So I love to take advantage of that.
Well, enjoy the weather, because in Chicago, it's about 15 degrees out. So
I know. I've heard my sisters are still up in Michigan. And so I hear all about I lived there for a while, so I know, but I'm reminded when I say, it's cold today, it's like 40 degrees. And they're like, what?
Yeah. My sister's in Florida, and I hear that, oh, it's chilly today. It's like 50. It's like 15 here. How long one last question before I let you go. How long did it take you to get used to being called a coach?
Not long, I don't think, because like I said, kind of early in my career, obviously my teammates didn't call me that, but I was encouraged by my coach to, not be afraid to give feedback and help teammates. And she always told me that I had a pretty good understanding of the concepts that we talked about, what goes into hitting and the mechanics of it and how to be a good hitter. So not to be afraid to share that with my teammates and help, coach them up a little bit. And so it's kind of something I think I always felt that I was or could be. So it didn't take too long.
Well, I've read the reports on Duke, and you're doing a great job. I know I started following them. I'm now forced to follow Duke a little bit more, and of course I'll be cheering for you all season. I appreciate your time. I wish you guys a lot of luck, and we'll check back in with you guys late in the season and see how things are looking.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. It was great to hear from you and get a chance to catch up.
Thanks, Coach. We'll do this again before 8 years. I promise.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
You have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.